world here in Lafayette, and so I joined Junior League of Lafayette, which most people don't know what Junior League is. They think it's a tea party or a shopping center, shopping extravaganza, and that is so totally not what we do on a daily basis. And so, but I got really involved with Junior League, which gave me like an in-depth, in the trenches view of the nonprofit world and how important nonprofits are in the community. And I got to do a lot of different grants, like working with nonprofits through there. And I integrate that in my work at the DA's office now, every day. Every day. Yeah.
So you got some city court experience?
As a defense attorney in city courts, yes, yes.
Well,
now you can go back to the courts.
Yeah. It might be kind of early. I wish you well in your journey on the way to city court.
Thank you very much.
I knew your father-in-law for many years. We worked together, campaigning,
Yes.
different things that he was involved in.
Yes, sir.
Charles, what Charles is to you? Charles was standing here.
Charles and Mr. Freddie are first cousins.
Okay.
But I was graciously given an opportunity in college to do an internship through UL with Professor Ridgway, and she would send interns to work at the congressman's office. And so I went to interview at the congressman's office. I was dating Alfred at that time, but I was so worried that they weren't going to give me the internship, so I never said anything. I just went on my own merit, and they gave me the internship, and then I worked for him in the congressional office here in Lafayette. And then I moved over, they hired me on as a staff assistant that summer. And then after the summer was finished, he kept me on as his volunteer coordinator for the campaign that year.
You don't look old enough to have all those hats. You done had a lot of hats,
I hear that very often, but yes, no. And so I got to see campaigning from a really different perspective, and I got to hear from someone who, he loves Lafayette, loves Lafayette.
Yeah.
And so it was wonderful to see that. And I actually did a lot of campaign work throughout college for candidates on all the sides, because I truly think if you're putting yourself out there for your community and you're doing this kind of work, it has to be respected.
Yeah. Just say you get in office. Any special plan that you have for city court, being a city court judge?
Well, a lot of people ask me that. I honestly think the first step is to go in and evaluate what's happening there. I'd love to have a sit down with the defense attorneys, the prosecutors, city prosecutors, the staff, and see what improvements they want to make. I am a huge collaborator. I think that's probably one of my best strengths, is that I like everybody to sit at the table and figure out what the problems are and how to address them. I don't have all the issues, all the answers myself, and I don't think any one person does. But I want to hear from everybody how to make it better. Judge Saloom is an amazing judge, and I'd be very blessed to work with him. Judge Harris, who's been there, filling this spot this past year, I have heard nothing but amazing things about her and how she is on the bench. And I've been blessed with Judge Colbert, who, he says, go in and do it, Roya. Just figure, he lets us run the courtroom. I could have never been asked. I could have never asked to work with someone better than Judge Colbert. And so I've learned really I know how to run a courtroom. I have the experience. I'm currently doing it right now. And so I think that track 4 is a very efficient track. And I would look to bring that efficiency to city court. Any special programs or anything, I think the huge gap where we can really use the work is bringing the nonprofit world into it. There's so many, and I do that as an assistant DA. There's so many nonprofits right now that are doing and filling the gap where government can't, and people don't want to raise taxes and all those things, but the nonprofits are doing the work.
Right, right.
So if you bring them and put them and let them have a seat at the table, there's so much good that can come from that.
Right, right.
And I would love to be able to integrate some of that nonprofit work that I've been doing and just making it available. Because at the end of the day, it's the prosecutor and the defense attorney 99% of the time that are coming up with the plea offers and things like that, or just how to solve the case. What's the quickest way? And that's what I do every day. But my special knowledge comes from knowing the nonprofit sector so well and knowing what resources are available.
Right.
There's been many a time where I've, released a defendant out of jail and then given them the information through their attorney. Hey, tell them to go here to get that service. Because I think 99% of the time we can get to the root of the problem if we just listen to them.
Right. Everybody have a problem.
Yes.
And locking up everybody that goes before you is not really the answer a lot of times.
No, most of the time it is not. And I'm definitely a prosecutor who, my victims are so very important to me. And in any of the big cases, the victims come and sit down with me. And we talk about what the plea offer is, if they want to offer a plea offer, anything like that. I'm not God and I'm not the kingmaker. I want to hear what they have to say. And so that's so important. If your child was hurt or something happened to you and someone came into your home, you'd want somebody to listen to you.
Right.
But on the other hand, if you're just a subject from your own, just the circumstances of your life that, some people just don't have the same lives that everybody else does.
Right.
They deserve somebody to listen to them too. And I absolutely, that's how I practice every day. And I think that's probably why my colleagues encouraged me to do this, because I'm very reasonable and I listen. And I've talked to people on all the sides.
Right, right.
So.
Well, you had judges in the past that when you went before them, maybe he didn't have a good breakfast that morning. And you want to take it out on the person that's coming before him. So, from what I'm gathering right now, you have a hard heart, and that's what it takes to move around in the world, not having a hard heart,
My mom always told me it costs nothing to be kind.
Right.
And I think that's that's what I tell my kids too. It costs nothing to be kind.
Right.
If you go in being kind, the world is just a little bit easier.
Right. And they're going to have a lot of people, I know you haven't met them, have such a nasty attitude. You can't seem to throw ice on them to cool them down, because they got that fire up on them and they just mad at the world, so you're going to be dealing with different people, and it seems like you've been around the teacup to know you can hold it with the hands.
Absolutely. I do that. We have defendants or victims that come into court every day. People don't know that they shouldn't know the criminal justice system unless the only reason they come to a court is because maybe something has happened to them in their lives, or or they've gotten themselves in trouble or whatever. The best thing that you could do is explain to them the process.
You're right.
It's not an easy, it's not a quick process, but if you explain it to people, they become softer too.
Right, right.
And sometimes you just need to listen. Sometimes people do just need a vent.
Yeah. So, again, justice matter to you.
Yes.
That's your campaign slogan.
Yes.
So, and that's what I think the world needs, a little more justice.
Yes.
People that understand another person and what they're going through, because sometimes I wake up in the morning, oh God, thank you for waking me up. Why I gotta go through this today? So everybody don't wake up on the same side of the bed. Some get up on the left side, some get up on the right side, you know, and you just got to learn how to deal with everybody.
I have 3 small children, 6, 4, and actually my baby's birthday is today. He's 2 years old.
Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday to Jack, huh?
Yeah,
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, yeah. And so, Jack, you know, they're all different. A boy, a girl, and then a boy. And that's what you said is so right. My son, he pops out of bed every morning. He's ready to go. He's like Mr. Social. And he wants to go to school. He's excited. My girl, sometimes she's in a good mood. Sometimes she's crying, you know. And then like the baby, he don't sleep still. You know, we're up all night, like last night. And so he wakes up and he's crying. And you really have to, and maybe it's, I don't know, being a parent, you meet each person, each child where they're at in the morning. And that's what I do at work too, you know. And so, now look, on the other hand, I have tried a lot of cases and I'm blessed that I've been able to find justice for victims' families who have been, you know, there's been wrong done to their families.
Right, right.
And so I'm blessed with that as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. You know, a lot of people don't have that. You know, that adjustable attitude.
You have to in this field.
You know, I have a person that I know. It was hard for her to talk. You know, and I got her to where she's talking now. You know, because I never gave up. You know, good morning, how you doing, how your day going? Yeah. You know, and she give him a little wave, you know, and I take it, keep right on going, come back again later on, hey, you know, and now she's beginning to communicate a whole lot better, you know, but I credit myself in that because I didn't, you know, just say, oh, you got a nasty attitude and left her alone, you know what I mean? I keep talking to her, and I'm gonna keep on talking to her. You know, a guy asked me one time, said, man, why every time I see you, you're smiling? I say, it's easier to smile than to have a angry face.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, well, I know they say that it takes a lot more muscles to frown than to smile.
Yeah, oh yeah, easy. You know, and that's what I do, you know. I try to be happy with everybody, regardless, you know.
And like you said earlier, every day is a new day.
Yeah, every day.
You wake up, thank God that you get to wake up every day.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's a new day, it's a fresh start.
Yeah, sometimes I wake up and, man, you know, why my stomach feel like that? What did I eat last night? You know?
Now, we know there's backlogs in city court right now, and there's not too much to divert the fines and different things. What you plan on bringing to city court to clear that backlog and to try to keep the misdemeanor defendants out of jail?
So, like as far as the backlog, I think it's just doing the work, you know. And I think Judge Harris and Judge Saloom have been doing a fabulous job. I just want to know what they need. Do they need more dates? Do they need more time to clear the backlog? Because you know, we're still dealing with the backlog too from COVID, from the district court, and you know, at the time, we actually, you know, the criminal justice system went through a couple of things where we had a restriction of services from the public defender's office where they could only represent people who were actually in jail, okay, and so everybody else had to wait. And then we had the vote on the unanimous jury, and then we had COVID. So we had a very long time where there was really no jury trials. And there was innovative ways that I think that as a prosecutor I worked with to kind of clear that backlog. And I think honestly it just takes sitting down at the table and figuring out how do you get there. It's not going to happen overnight, but I guarantee the women and the men that work in that city court every day, they know how to do it. We just got to get it done, you know? Yep. And then You know, as far as the people who go in with misdemeanors and not making them a felon, I think if you at that point, if you try to get to that, if there's a problem, then you try to get it right then and there. I don't know if a nice talking to is going to do it for people. You know, they just need, sometimes they just need somebody to listen to them, and if there's resources available, get them the resources they need. But also, I have plenty of defendants who have never been in trouble a day in their life. Their very first charge is a felony.
Correct.
So I think to say maybe that, you know, people get misdemeanors before they get felonies, that's probably a fallacy. You know, maybe a lot of the times they do, but not all the time.
But it's not 100%.
No.
Correct.
And so it's more about meeting the person where they're at and individualizing whatever that sentence or whatever that process looks like for that person. That's what you need to do. You know, you don't necessarily need you know, we all have mamas and daddies, right? And they tell you all day long not to do something or do something. You do it no matter what. But it could sometimes go deeper than somebody just needing a talking to.
Right.
You know?
Correct.
Yeah.
Boy. You know, sometimes when a misdemeanor start off with a traffic ticket a lot of times.
Yes.
A traffic ticket, and then once you get the traffic ticket, you know, you don't pay for your fine.
Yep.
And it runs up to bigger.
Snowballs.
Yeah. It's like a little snowball stuff.
That's right.
And it rolls up to a big snowman.
And that most families are one hospital visit, one doctor's visit, one incident with the court system away from like real super poverty. You know, that's that what United Way's report on the ALICE population is asset limited income, like income constrained but employed. So they're working. They're just making right over that median age, and they're really living paycheck to paycheck. And so when something like that happens, I know it. I see it every day.
Yeah.
And what we do at the district court, a lot of the times, because Judge Colbert has an ear, you know, he is just so intelligent in this sense, where he sees that this is not going to monetary fees are not going to help this person. Like, you know, so we'll stop the fees, especially upon their probation or something like that. We'll do, you know, a lot of times, or we don't do fines, something. We take the person on an individual basis and see what it is that they need.
I'm listening. Hello? Okay, I think we got that straight.
Yeah, I think the tech is trying to.
Just let them know we already had some technical difficulties, but we all right.
We had a few technical problems. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
But I think we got that straight right now.
Thanks for listening.
This is live TV. Yeah, think of that.
That's my technical brother out there.
Technical field, brother.
Yeah.
We're sorry for the technical difficulties, but I think we got.
Yeah, they got stuff.
Yeah.
Fixed.
Yeah. So, but I'm glad that you know, we got somebody out there that could call and tell us what's going on. You know, he said we was fading in and out, but we're good right now. You know.
Okay.
Now, we know that city court is mainly traffic and the criminal division is mainly traffic and misdemeanor. And
Rent, you know, landlord.
Evictions,
but,
yes.
In the criminal aspect of it, I've watched the Marshall show, Holding Accountable, and there's a lot of warrants out there, and most of the people who pick up warrants are people who probably can't afford to pay the fine that day, and they just don't show up thinking they gonna go to jail. But the process at city court, you often get a chance to redeem that warrant or have that warrant recalled. What kind of campaign you would bring to make those defendants feel comfortable as to coming back to court?
Well, you know, we deal with that in district court too. People don't show up all the time, and we have to issue bench warrants or fugitive warrants. And Judge Colbert usually will just do a $25 contempt fine, unless somebody really can't pay. Okay, you know, I mean, you take it on it. What I think is that nothing fits in a box. A person cannot fit in a box. And you look at them and you figure out what it is that they need. Are they not showing up because they're not showing up? Or are they not showing up because they will have to go to work that day or something else, you know? And all it takes is just talking to somebody and just figuring it out. And you know, as far as any kind of campaigning or anything like that, I think I don't think you make any promises. I think you just look at it on an individual basis, and you take the person as they come, you know. Yeah.
Well, Keith, you got any more questions? You want to talk about yourself now? You can talk about yourself.
Yeah, take this time to give you the opportunity to talk about what you want to talk about.
Oh, me? Well, I mean, I'm just very excited to be able to go through this process. I feel like it made me very humbled and honored to think that my colleagues felt enough about me that they wanted me to be on the bench, and so I'm very thankful.
Excuse me a minute.
Yes, sir.
I got to go talk to the technical.
Oh, yes.
Right here. Keep on doing what you're doing.
I'm also, like I said, I'm very, very involved in the nonprofit world. I've sat on a lot of different boards. I've been inside Boys and Girls Clubs, both of them in Lafayette, and I'm very thankful for that opportunity to be able to have those experiences to bring that to the court.
That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and let's talk a little bit about your community service work before. Just give a little aspect of your public servant work.
You want me to give a little plug for Junior League of Lafayette? Because I bet you know what you probably don't know that we do is we really have 3 focus areas in Junior League. It's women's leadership, health and development of women and children, and then collaboration for lasting community change. And for collaboration for lasting community change, we have programs under each one of these buckets. One of them is the grants that we give out. We give out collaborative opportunity grants, so we give people and we give money to different area nonprofits to do different programs or projects. And so we've been really instrumental in basically starting every museum in the city. And we're celebrating our 65th year this year. I'm currently the president-elect, and so I feel very blessed that the ladies and the women in that organization have felt that I'm the next person that can lead the organization. It's an amazing organization. We have a diaper bank. So like under women, health and development of women and children, we have a diaper bank that we give out more than $70,000 diapers a year into the community. Have you heard about that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sound good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I heard about it, and they have a young lady that come on the program that I heard her talking about the diapers and you know how they collect diapers and pass them out to needy mothers.
Yes.
That's all good, you know.
Yeah.
One of the things that I feel a lot of these youngsters are going to court about is lack of education. You know, and I think that would be an awesome task for a judge to do, because when you get a person in front of you, you got a folder like this here in front, and you can see everything that's been going on with them,
Mhm.
the education level, if they got a high school diploma,
Yeah.
you know. I think that would be awesome for any judge
Mhm.
to take that on, to make sure that a kid or a young person go before have an education.
Mhm.
You know, at least learn how to spell, you know, and because I feel like this is, if you know how to spell, you can read.
Absolutely.
It's hard to read if you can't recognize the word.
Mhm.
You know, I don't care what nobody say, but everybody say teach a kid how to read. I feel you got to teach a kid how to spell, because that's what I did with my granddaughter and grandson.
Yeah.
When they wanted something, you know, spell the word.
Mhm.
You know,
Mr. G, you got any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the questions I have, and Mike a little bit, one of the questions I have, do you, as a city court judge, when you go before the court, in a way for the city court to track how many individuals who have come before the city court, because it starts off with misdemeanors, right?
Yes. Well, not necessarily, but yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Or keeping statistic to make recommendation with others in the court system to better understand what's going on when you have someone who passed through city court, then now they graduated to the judicial court system, you know, like the 15 or 16.
Yeah.
And do you, your experience as a prosecutor, do you see many who came through any one of the court jurisdictions now they, you know, made it into prison? You know, it'd be interesting to know how much effect or non-effect the court has on the individual.
Yeah, I think part of the other thing that I really love is that's not really city court, or, you know, legally, but I love the strategic part of and looking at what measurables are. And so we, you know, at the DA's office, we have a program, like an internal program, that we can see what cases this person has had in our office, you know, to kind of make a educated decision on how to go about with sentencing or just different things. But as far as metrics, I don't know if there are specific metrics out there. That is a fabulous idea, though, because you really want to know how, like, what's the percentage? At what point can you effectively help someone at the start? I don't know if those metrics are out there. They might be, but I don't know if they're specifically out there for Lafayette City.
Probably private individuals, groups
Yes.
and stuff.
Yeah. But you know, that's such a, like I said, sometimes you go and you have misdemeanors and you have like traffic tickets or something, but then you get somebody who's like killed someone and they've never been in trouble in their entire life. I have quite a number of cases like that right now where in your head you're trying to, you know, people always want to look for a motive when somebody's doing something, or like there was something in their background, but sometimes somebody, it's not there. And you, like as a prosecutor, I always try to like figure it out, but sometimes they just did a crime and it's the first time they ever did it.
One more thing, Keith, I'm sorry. Just recently saw the news report this morning where the local CBS affiliate talked about the number of teen deaths in this area and the surrounding, in Lafayette, in the area.
Yes.
How does city court play an important part in giving out, just say, even though it's misdemeanors, right? But juvenile.
Well, they have a whole juvenile section in city court. And you know, on the happenstance, they probably do have some very serious crime that happens in city court, and that's the jurisdiction. And I feel like,
what I want to ask you is, hearing those statistics, they're bad.
They
are that troubling to you as a
absolutely
as a person who will be a city court judge?
It's troubling to me as an individual. And like as an assistant DA, we don't know how to stop the crime. I think it takes the entire community coming together and sitting down and figuring out, how do we address it? It is bad. We do have a juvenile crime problem. And what's the best route? I don't think any one person knows.
Yes,
but I think it's
community.
It's a community problem. At the very core, I think you and you and me and you want to feel safe in your community.
Mhm.
And how do we ensure people, every person, feels safe? It's making sure that we're all sitting at the table talking to each other and figuring out what your needs are, what your needs are, what my needs are, what the kids' needs are, and addressing them. And I'll be honest, I don't know if that came from the legal work. I think it came from the nonprofit work. You know, because as an AD, as an assistant DA, and as a lawyer, sometimes it's like, oh God, another file, another file, another file. But then when you read the file and you read about the person, you know that there's something going on, that maybe they just need somebody to talk to or some listen. And while it's not my job as the prosecutor to do that, sometimes it is, and sometimes I've done that. It is my job, and it's the defense attorney's job to make sure that we're leaving the community better than we found it.
Correct.
And so if me and any of my public defenders or any of my defense attorneys, if we're sitting down and we're trying to figure out what's the best resolution to the case, I want to know that my victim feels heard, the defendant feels heard, and everybody is gonna, well, maybe you don't like the result, everybody feels like they have had a seat at the table at some point, you know, and everybody feels like they have had at least somebody to talk to.
Well, you know what I feel that's really going on is that one-eyed monster. Now, what's a one-eyed monster?
I don't know.
A TV.
Oh, yeah.
The TV.
Oh, and this? The social media?
Media.
Yeah.
Media in general.
I feel, you know, I done had more time since I done retired to watch TV. And I'm looking at TV, and if I was coming up, I would be doing some of that stuff too. And I think a lot of these kids are watching too much TV, social media, you know, and it seems like
And music.
people want to take that. See, when I was coming up watching TV, two persons didn't sleep in the same bed. Husband and wife didn't sleep in the same bed. They had bunk beds, you know, and things like this here. And we didn't have, we had cowboys and Indians, you know, that did a lot of violence. But right now, you know, you look at TV and watch some of these programs, they're awful, man.
We very rarely watch TV in our house if it's like, you know, cartoons for the kids.
Yeah.
Alfred and I, we don't have time to watch TV, and we don't let the kids watch anything else. But we do listen to a lot of music.
Yeah.
You know?
And
Some of the music is the bad influence out there, and I know he's a DJ. I understand. When we do talk shows about that, some of the culture is part of the music. Living the culture is actually is like imitating art instead of vice versa. That is the problem. That's the main problem.
Some of the music, you got music today, modern day music. Most of it, I'm gonna say hip hop, modern day hip hop. Most of it create a lifestyle for juveniles as to that lifestyle that's gonna keep them in felony track court.
Yeah.
But if you go back probably past the 2000s, 2005, the music, the hip hop music then had a message in it, you know. It wasn't more so about I'm gonna shoot up Johnny's house.
That's right.
Yeah.
And but what I want to touch on, as a prosecutor, as a city court judge candidate, most of the juvenile crime or the juvenile murder cases, you could say 60% of them consist of guns. Do you think that we need to toughen up on our gun laws?
You know, I mean, we as a judicial candidate, we really can't take sides. And the gun law, all I can do is do what I have to do to follow the law on gun control, you know. But I will say this, the amount of guns on the streets is unreal.
And the type of guns.
And the type, yes. I see it every day in my cases. The crime involving guns, there ain't that much of it. It's all involving guns, you know? And I don't know how to stop.
It's speechless.
And you
That's
know
all I have to
what?
say.
You're so right. We had this conversation last night. Rap music when I was growing up was not rap music today. And a lot of the times, someone will go and kill someone and then get on social media and start rapping about it. Like they're telling on themselves.
You seen the prosecutors, I know they could hit me because it's good pickup. The prosecutors in Fulton County just opened up an indictment on the number of home invasions on celebrities, yes. And then there's the federal one with a group of rappers, prominent rappers, getting indicted on RICO charges too. So they're starting to use the lyrics of the music to prosecute. You know, so I don't know.
And for those out there, if you committing crimes, do not get on social media.
Don't give them that tip. You go
talk about
make her job so hard,
because,
much harder.
It makes criminal defense attorneys. It makes it hard for them to.
No, it makes it very easy when they start getting on social media and confessing what they did.
It makes it easy for the prosecutor, but those criminal defense attorneys, it make it very hard for them to defend you.
Yeah, I'm saying yes, and Alfred's saying, oh God.
So, you know, again, I'm gonna wish you well. You know, in what you campaigning for. You know, you can give your website, you know, right now, tell people how to get in touch with you.
Sure, it's royabustiani.com. www.royabustiani.com. I am on social media. It's under Roya Bustani Campaign.
That's how I got in touch with you.
Yeah. You found me on social media? Good.
Yeah.
Good. And my cell phone, everything, my entire contact information is on there because I really want to talk to as many people as possible. I think that is the most important thing I can do is, regardless of anything else, at the end of the day, I want to make sure everybody knows that I was available for them to talk to. And whether it's bringing that to city court or continuing on as a prosecutor, I care about this community so much. I want Ace and Allie and Jack to not only love this community, I want them to come back here and raise my grandkids here. I don't want them to move. You know, I went to school in Baton Rouge and I came right back. I am so pro Lafayette.
But you were still in the state.
Oh yeah, I never left. No, I couldn't go that far. My mom and dad would not let me.
Have you met the Chancellor of Southern Law? Not Chancellor, I think he's Mr. John Pierre.
Yes.
Yes.
I graduated.
He's from my
his
home area.
Oh yeah? I graduated with his son Tuesday.
Okay.
Wonderful guy. He's not in Louisiana anymore. I think he's in Florida.
Okay.
Well, Florida is pretty distant away. You know, I don't care what nobody says. I used to drive trucks, and I always wanted to go to Florida. And when I started driving to Florida, I said, whoa. You know, especially when you get on 85, going to Miami. So, but the thing of it is, when people leave, going to another state to work, get a job or anything like this, as long as they don't forget where they came from, you know. And I know for a fact, because I went to California at an early age, and I loved it, so I stayed, and I stayed 30 years. But when it was time for me to come back, I came back.
You came back home, huh?
Oh yeah, you know, and things are good in Lafayette.
They are.
Yeah.
This is an amazing community. And when we come together, we do like really amazing things. I think.
I got some faults about it, but those are my faults, you know. And I guess everybody else could understand my fault, you know. And that's what we got to do. We got to start understanding each other's way of life.
So basically, it's safe to say you can't pay this build around meeting the community where they at, and meeting the defendants where they at. Some might not need harsh punishment in order to get back into society. Some might need harsh
That's
punishment.
right.
Yeah, well, I figure, it's like when you play baseball, 3 strikes and you're out. The first 2, you could let them go by maybe. It all depends how hard,
Severe.
how severe the crime was, But I don't believe first-time offender should be locked down, even if it's a traffic ticket,
Definitely not. For a traffic ticket.
Well, they have people that been locked up for a traffic ticket because they couldn't afford to pay the fine, And it happened to me one time. I forgot to pay a fine. And when they came and arrested me, they didn't have to worry about that no more. I don't care what kind of traffic ticket I got. I always paid that traffic ticket. And my wife made sure I paid that traffic ticket. And I done got them in Mississippi, a couple of times. Not no fault of mine, but I got them, and as soon as I told her I had one, oh, you're gonna pay that. Go pay that tomorrow. I'll pay it. Send the money to get it taken care of. Because there's a funny thing to get arrested for a traffic ticket. A simple traffic ticket. So
That must have been in 1938 or something.
Yeah.
No, it's 70.
no.
I'm just saying, I don't know, but even
Yeah.
as a judge, I don't think who's standing would say, "Hold up, go get him."
Well, when that warrant come out on you, the officer don't have no choice but to
That's right.
Execute
that warrant. And I could understand that. Like I said, it happened to me one time. I was young. I was in my teens at the time, but never let that happen again. And a lot of people get in traffic tickets and just ignore them. Put them in the glove box, forget about it.
And then some you gotta look at the reason why that person probably ignored that traffic ticket. Some probably just don't have the money, cause I mean, as being a community activist and going into the community, I see a lot of people who has, hey man, I'm not going to turn, I ain't got the money to pay, and it's not really about that. Like I tell them, you go there, you talk to the judge and let them know I can't afford it. But then City Court through Judge Kalisalu and Judge Francis Bouillon, it's a reputation of the way City Court was hard. You going to jail if you ain't got the money to pay. So I think Ms. Bustani gonna create that that notion to let you know that if you come in and take care of your issues, it might save you a trip from going to jail. Because your warrant don't go away. Your warrant gonna be executed anyhow.
Yeah.
If you just call and communicate with the court, that's all anybody wants. That's all I want for the DA. I just want to know, and quite frankly, make sure nothing else has happened. Nothing, you're okay. If you just call in and say, hey, I can't make it or whatever. Most of the time, people are not trying to put somebody in jail for this kind of stuff. And Judge Saloom and Judge Bouillon were.
There was also judges,
yes,
great
very,
judges.
very kind. Yeah.
They was harsh, like firm, and people took the firmness, I guess, the wrong way.
Well, we got a couple of minutes left.
Yeah, we winding down. Closing comments.
Well, I just thank you guys so much for having me. It's been so lovely.
Yeah.
It's been so nice to meet y'all.
Nice to meet you
And
too.
I'm so thankful that you had me on. I'm really, I'm excited about being able to represent the city of Lafayette and in this capacity and move my public service from the district attorney's office to Lafayette City Court. and I would be in the city court, you know, for the long haul. I would be really excited to make sure that the court continues on its legacy that it has now, and bring in whatever innovation would come in, and bring in whatever new technologies there are. I know that law enforcement has asked me about some stuff, and I'd be really excited to bring that into Lafayette City Court. You know? Yeah.
Let's take a caller for me. I think we got
Sure.
like 2 or 3 minutes.
Caller?
Caller, you got a brief comment? Okay.
Okay. Come on.
Correct, Ms. Rob Bustan.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for calling in.
Okay. All right, caller, we appreciate the call.
Thank you.
Because we're getting ready to go off the air, and we got to give our closing comment.
We thank the caller for calling in.
Yeah, and we want to thank you guys for allowing us to get in your home, in your eyes, in your ears, and in your heart. Until next Friday, 10 o'clock, you know, keep.
I want to thank you all for joining us here. I want to thank Ms. Bustani for allowing us to interview her. And she's talking about a campaign. She's bid for Lafayette City Court Division A. And I want to say this, if you're not registered to vote, please register to vote. If you can't put your hands on your voter's registration card, re-register, and let's get out and vote.
And it ain't no sense in telling somebody that don't, not to vote, because if you don't vote, you let somebody else vote for the candidate that you might want in office. So please, go out and vote.
Yes.
You don't have a number.
My phone number?
No.
Number 60.
Oh,
I am.
She's number 60 on the ballot.
I am number 60, yes sir.
Okay, you gotta write that down.
And I definitely invite anybody who has any questions, concerns, comments to please reach out. I'd love to talk to them.
All right, yes. Okay. Brother Jay?
Okay, we are, Mike's got. Okay. What